It's June, and I'm going to give you a tour of my garden. Keep watching. Hi everyone, it's Audra, and this is my urban garden, and I want to give you a tour of what my garden looks like in the month of June. So I have raised beds. These are my first two right here. There's not very much going on here. I planted the seeds in here late, and I think I had some bad seed and a lot of them didn't come up. So I've got some basil back there that's just starting to come up, and then I've got a few other things that I'm going to plant in there. In the front here, I have my herbs, and I've got some different herbs going this year. I've got lemongrass, tarragon, purple basil, cumin, dill, thyme, and stevia. I have an arched trellis in between my two beds, and if you want to see the video on how to make the trellis, just click the link up there and there's another video on how to do that. I've got my cucumbers growing here on this trellis, and you can see they're full of blooms. You can see the blooms, and I have to actually help it up the trellis, so you can see this guy's just kind of sticking out here, and I just weave them in and out of the holes every day or so just to help them get the idea, because cucumbers are kind of dumb, so I have to help them climb the trellis. They really want to go sideways instead of up, so I gotta help them a little bit. On this side of the trellis, I've got my peas, and it's getting a little bit too hot for the peas, but as you can see, they're making peas like crazy. I've already picked peas once, so they're doing really good. Around here on this side, I've got some flowers for the pollinators, of course. I've got a few beets, my second round of beets that are coming up right up there. A little bit of kale and 2 squash. And I've left this bed kind of empty because I'm anticipating this squash getting really big and filling up pretty much half of this. And then as my beets harvest and my other beet one, then I'm going to put some more in there. Around the front of this bed, I have 2 tomato plants. And you can see they're already full of tomatoes. Look at those cuties. And over there, you can see right there, you can see there's a big tomato on that one. This bed, I have some kale, dinosaur kale. And I actually had some herbs in there, and I just moved them down to the other spot to kind of consolidate them, so that's empty. And I've got a few Gerber daisies. And then these are I have 4 tomato plants in here. You can see there's a big old tomato down inside here. See them in there? All my tomatoes this year I got from the University of Arkansas's agricultural department. So all my tomatoes are actually native Arkansas tomatoes, so I'm really excited about that. You can see here I've got marigolds everywhere because they're supposed to be really good to keep the bugs out. Here I'm quite proud of these. This was a little experiment I did this year. These are Hatch chilies, like the Hatch chilies. And I've got, I think, 5 of these plants. I grew them from seed, and hopefully Hatch chilies are going to come off of that. So stay tuned for how that works out. Oh, look at here. You can see some little tomato guys right in there. I can't wait to eat them. Anyway, on this trellis, and if you want to see how I made this trellis, click the link up there. I've got a whole video about how to do it. This is Quintus green beans. These green beans will get really long, like this long. And this particular variety of green bean, even though they get really long like that, they won't be stringy or anything. They're really great. This is an older kind of rare green bean seed to find. My grandpa actually got it for me, and it's one of his favorite green beans and mine too. So, and I like it because they're not bush beans. They grow in a trellis, which makes it a lot easier for picking. And I actually have 2 trellises of the Quintus beans going, and I'll show you what's in the next bed. I have several things. First off is okra, and if you want to come a little closer, I'll show you kind of how okra grows if you're not familiar. You can see the stalks there. There's one that's about ready to pick. It makes big flowers in the morning. There's a bloom right there, and that flower will open up really big in the morning time. And these will actually get taller than I can reach. Okra grows really tall. So I've never actually grown okra for myself. My mother does, and she usually gives me some, but I was like, hey, I'll try some this year. I've got an eggplant right here next to the okra. It's getting nice and big. And on the other side, I've got some more eggplant. This is Black Beauty eggplant. That's the big ones like you'd see in the store. And then I've also got here, these smaller plants are little finger eggplant. And they're like skinny, long little eggplants. And this is a bell pepper of some kind. Chocolate. A chocolate bell pepper. I don't really know what that is, but we'll find out. And then I've got a couple more tomatoes. I love these little guys. You have to see. Here, you can see right in there. Look at those adorable little tomatoes that are coming on. It's gonna be adorable. I can't wait. This bed, this is actually my favorite one for several reasons. I have these tomatoes here. These are called Black Vernissage. It's a smaller cherry type tomato, but they're really dark red, almost black colored. I love these tomatoes. I got a little late start on them, so they're significantly smaller than my other tomato bushes. Also, I tried growing some marigolds from seed this year, and instead of growing marigold plants, I grew marigold trees. I don't know why. So you can see here, I mean, this guy, here's how tall he is. Here's the bottom way down here. You can see how thick the stalk is. It's like a marigold tree. I'm not even joking. I don't know how that happened, but I've got like 4 or 5 of these. Here's another one that's huge. Compared to, this is the marigold I bought from the store. This little nice bushy one here like you would normally see. And then this. So I don't know. Marigolds really like me. What can I say? This is beets. I've got 4 or 5 different varieties of beets in here. We'll see if we can see it down here and see any. Oh, here's some. You see it right there? That's getting close to being picked. I'll probably go through here in the next few days. Like you can see here, there's 1, 2, 3 beets right there. And I'll probably go through and take this middle one out, which will let this one and this one get a little bigger. On the end here on this trellis, I have ground cherries. And I've never grown ground cherries before, but you can see here, they grow in these little lanterns, kind of like a tomatillo. And if you squeeze it just a little bit, you can feel the little cherry growing inside there. So I don't know when to pick them or when they're done or what they're going to taste like, but there's my another little experiment for the year. This is where I had my compost pile, and I had a few volunteer plants come out of here, and this is one of them. I'm pretty sure this is a banana squash because of this. That's like, I just saw that just now, and I'm like, oh, it's banana squash plant. So these banana squashes will grow. I had one last year that grew, it was about that long, about that big around. These things are huge. So I actually planted one right here from a seed. There it is. This one came back all by itself. So I'm gonna let it grow across the top of the fence there, and yeah, we'll see what happens.